Welcome to the show. And this segment is a Serena's Playbook segment. And if you recall, Serena's Playbook is all about leveling up your critical thinking, your strategic thinking, whether you're a creator, someone in business, you have a brand, you're building something online, an educator. And so we know, as with the theme for the full show here on Serena Syed's channel, we know that if universities are cutting back on subjects that encourage critical thinking, then what else is taking place within the wider web network of society? If the height of education and educational institutions see that critical thinking is not something that we want to encourage, and instead, what we want to do is get people trained in STEM subjects and those kinds of subjects and vocations that will yield more money for the system, for them, and have them producing at a rate that will basically help us and those in power who are pulling the strings. And for those to not, for anyone to not appreciate this, to understand this, to recognize this, means that many are not. And they're quite happy to continue to plod along, thinking that they will get what they deserve. They will uh, benefit in some way without questioning why things are being done in the way that they are being done. And this is impacting those within the creator economy. This is impacting those who tune into many creators because there is much spoon feeding going on. There is much spoon feeding going on, not just from a creator or a brand to their viewer, their follower, but also there is spoon feeding going on into the creator, their ideation, and how they look to create content and influence their community. The spoon feeding is coming from algorithms, from AI, and from new models of so-called success for the creator economy. There is a real absence of let's dig in deeper. Let's understand uh, the background, why this is happening, what else is going on. Let's check our biases. Let's question our assumptions. But instead of all of that, we're seeing a real trend in business, in education, in entrepreneurship, where do this and you'll get this result, rather than dig into this and see what you get. Because you know what it feels like? It feels like we're being churned and formed into a language model. Just input everything you need, you want us to know, and you need us to know, right? Greetings to you too, Orca English. Just put it all in, like feed it like a language model. So humans are now walking around like language models to behave in the way that those in power wish for us to behave. And so the issue then for creators, the issue for those tuning into all of the content is that not only is our attention span becoming so limited, but our capacity for knowledge and our capacity for knowledge integration and application is being limited. Our capacity for our that thing, critical thinking, is being severely limited. And so when you find yourself realizing this, you have to make a choice. I just uploaded a video on Serena's Playbook channel talking about the complacent creator and how creators pre 2020 enjoyed certain sort of level of algorithmic success, were able to build their brand and their community, and they had a livelihood out of it. Like they didn't need a 9 to 5. But the problem is the algorithm, AI, it's all changed. And it's changed how creators are now experiencing the success of their content. And the evidence, you ask, the evidence is this: creators are coming onto YouTube saying, we are leaving, or we are having to pivot, or we are going to Patreon because our content is not being seen in the same way. Those who followed us aren't behaving in the same way. I mean, they're not quite saying that bit, but what they're essentially getting to is that here's an example. You'd have an audience who would watch your long form videos on YouTube for years and then began their TikTok addiction. And instead of doing that thing where they will watch lovely long form storytelling content where you share your life and your insights and then click on a link and buy into your brand, they are now quite happy to watch shorter videos on TikTok where there is a shop visibly available for them to click on and buy stuff. And so their purchasing power has now gone elsewhere. So you see, those creators who really relied on the kind of loyalty and exclusivity with a community and an audience are not experiencing the same thing. And they're definitely not experiencing the same treatment from the algorithm. And that's why you'll notice a lot of them coming to their channel with a video and they're essentially saying, right, this isn't going to give me the same thing that it gave me a long time ago. And now I'm going to have to pivot. So that's why we're seeing creators pivot. And that's why we are seeing a real change in the style of content creation. And so when I say that there's an absence of critical thinking, when I say that there is I would say an agenda to discourage it, you're seeing a bit of a reaction, which is wonderful. And the reaction is you see academics, PhDs, those who actually read a book coming onto TikTok or YouTube, and they will offer their insight, they will offer their expertise. You have more people with more years in the game. I have more than 20 years in communications and media. I'm a public relations practitioner. I'm studying systems thinking as an MSc. You've got people with much more experience coming to these platforms and channels offering the kind of information that is just not being provided elsewhere or is being gate kept. And so the shift in, I find, creator land and the creator economy is that it is attracting a level of expertise that isn't necessarily a perfect influencer with glossy hair. It's not a perfectly manicured blogger, fashion diva, whatever. What it is somebody with more substance and years in the game. And the ROI, the return on investment, will look different and will be different. And it's for the creator and that person creating the content and publishing it to be aware that the outcome and the output is going to be very different compared to creators pre 2020. If there is an absence of critical thinking, or if critical thinking is being discouraged by the highest educational institutions, then there will also be an appetite for it. So, with you and your entrepreneurial mindset, you will want to capitalize on that, use it, not just to your benefit, but use it for the benefit of others. If you care about, why you're sort of creating content in the first place. So I appreciate your time and attention for this Serena's Playbook segment. That is all about really this sort of the theme of the show, which is an absence of critical thinking and how we're going to have to find it in non-traditional ways. We're going to have to seek it out. We're going to have to take that time where we tune out from our screens and read a book and touch some grass. So, when we keep hearing just go and touch some grass, actually touch some grass and take a book with you. Wonderful for you to sort of tune in to Serena's Playbook segment. And now I'm going to be going on to the next segment. We are more than halfway through this show. How are you doing?